When you play the Game of Thrones, you win or you die.
Warning, this podcast contains explicit language and spoilers. This is Behind the Iron Throne, your unofficial Game of Thrones cast.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is episode 158, a quick review of Stormborn. I'm your host, Chris Gray, and I'm brought to you by a great panel of Game of Thrones enthusiasts. That's right, you know them, you love them. It is going to be a great show, and first I'd like to introduce General Jonathan Stoma Starklover from the North. Hello, my friend, and please tell everybody where they could find you personally if you want to share that information.
Yo, Chris, what's up? Glad to be here. If you want to check me out, Facebook and Instagram, Twitter. So
Awesome.
There you go. Just type in my name.
Awesome. Also joining us tonight is the one, the only, the man who flies around in a Millennium Falcon and has a Valyrian steel Gatling gun. He is the one, the only, the militant marker, Yardley.
Hey, how you doing, man? I'm doing outstanding.
Hey, Yardley, where can people find you on social media, or if they just wanted to hit you up for some chit-chat?
You can follow me on Twitter at militant_marker, and it's the same handle for Instagram.
That makes things really easy. And of course, we have the one and only, the lovely and talented. She has a amazing bionic Targaryen head. If there were four heads of the dragon, it would be this lovely lady. I believe that she is a pixie straight out of Zelda. She is Trin. Hi, Trin. How are you?
I am doing great. I'm super excited tonight. And if anybody wants to find me on any of the social medias, I am at Dovahkiin Trin. That's Dovahkiin as in Skyrim. So if you don't know it, you don't know it, or Google it. And that's Trin. So Dovahkiin Trin.
Awesome. Now, our last co-host, now she's all over our Facebook page. And if you're not on our Facebook page or in our Facebook group, I don't know what to tell you. Check your pulse. Make sure you're alive. It's really easy to get to, Behind the Iron Throne. She is literally the lifeblood of our Facebook and our community relations. She's an amazing friend and basically knows everything there is to know about the Game of Thrones. I'm going to tell you right now, you can't even, it's amazing. Her name is Andrea. She's a mistress of whispers, and she's actually the only true queen of the North. I'm just going to tell you that secret right now. Andrea, welcome to the show. And where can people find you and chit-chat with you?
You know what? Honestly, I have no idea what to tell you. My Twitter name is, I think it's Andrea_Richard637. Give it a try. I can't remember. I just changed it. But everything is great. I'm really excited about tonight, and I'm looking forward to the show.
Yeah, it's going to be an amazing episode. Real quick, I just want to remind everybody, we do this show live every Sunday night after the Game of Thrones show goes off the air. It's our quick, we try to do a very quick show, give you our first impressions. It's going to be all over the place. Please bear with us. It's a lot of fun. If you want to join us live, it's very easy to do. Check out facebook.com/Behind the Iron Throne. You can also check out this show after the fact on the said Facebook page or at BehindTheIronThrone.tv. And of course, this podcast can be found wherever you enjoy your podcasts. I just want to mention that if you forgot anything I've said, you can find us very easily in the description of any one of our shows on any one of our formats, or go to the website, when all else fails, BehindTheIronThrone.com. It's just that easy. All you have to do is add that .tv or .com. See how easy it is? There's a theme going here. There's a going theme. All right, so let's get right into it. I want to start with Andrea because I got to say, Andrea, you posted on the Facebook page and then the Facebook Club BTIT group that you had almost every one of these predictions correct for episode 2, Stormborn. And starting out with Dragonstorm and seeing Dany and Varys, and then, of course, leading into Melisandre and all that stuff, you were spot on. So that was just absolutely amazing. I wanted to thank you for that prediction on the Facebook page and get your first impression on what you thought of all that.
I mean, it really flowed very well. I mean, the open right into Dragonstone was really interesting for me. I wasn't expecting that specifically. But I mean, going through the episode and seeing like obviously they were really brief predictions for this week's show, but overall, just seeing like how it played out, I was really pleased with myself to see that like I'm paying attention and I'm actually like on the right track. So that was fun.
Yeah, you were definitely on the right track. John, are any of the predictions that you made, did they come out? Were they accurate?
I mean, I predicted that Tyrion was going to. I didn't say this, but I had a feeling Tyrion was going to be the one planning the invasion of Westeros. So I kind of saw that coming, and I kind of predicted that Jon was going to go to the to Dragonstone.
Yardley, when we first got into this episode, the conversation between Danny and and Varys, were you a little bit nervous? Because I was. I thought somebody was going to lose his bald head.
You know what? I thought that was it was definitely interesting. One of the things that I had thought about was why is she just coming around to questioning Varys, because it seems kind of late in the game to have those considerations.
You know, I was thinking it's because this is the first time they actually, well, I mean, they were on the boat together, but maybe this is the first time they were actually in a scene where they can sit and talk and chat it out. But I don't know, Trent, if you were worried about it or not, but my heart really stopped for a second because I thought we were going to lose Varys. I mean, I thought his head was coming off.
Yes, I was very concerned because of the way that she approached him was very cold and calculating. And she went straight to him, isolated him from everybody else that was sitting in that room. She isolated him. And I thought, oh, my prediction was that maybe this cat's been a dragon or a Blackfire his whole career. And that might be some rift between the actual Targaryen and then the Dragonfire house, or I keep saying Dragonfire, Blackfire house. So I didn't know if maybe she knew more than we thought she knew.
That could play out also in the books, so that may not be out of the realm of possibilities. And Andre, you could talk more about that in your after show. I'm sure you have a lot of theories, and you've done so much research on Varys being a Blackfire and the Targaryens altogether. But I thought immediately when Jon Snow got brought up, and the reaction from Tyrion, I really enjoyed that, and I thought about Andrea, thinking to myself that you would be excited to hear, and of course I thought Jon would be excited as well, that she's going to be sending for Jon. But the whole to bend the knee thing kind of tweaked me the wrong way. I wanted to know what you thought about that.
I think that Daenerys is pompous. I think that, I mean, I understand
I
it. I
agree.
get it. Looking from a monarch's point of view to another monarch's point of view, Daenerys is there to rule the Seven Kingdoms, who she thinks is her, what she thinks is hers by right. And, her family had it before then. So, I mean, I get her point of view. But at the same time, you were just told that his people elected him the king in the north. And then you just had your hand of the queen tell you that he's a good man. And then you have Melisandre tell you all the things that he's done, and she's still like have him come to bend the knee. She's very self-entitled, and I mean, she has no idea who she's talking about. And I think it's going to really be interesting when it actually comes out who the fuck Jon actually is. I can't wait to see the look on Daenerys' face.
Yeah, me too. I also thought it was nice to see Melisandre. I believe you predicted that as well, that Melisandre was going to show up at Dragonstone, and that's how Danny did find out about Jon Snow. So that was cool. But I really love Tyrion. I feel like Tyrion, at least from what we've seen so far, is not quite as he's funny, but not the same funny he was in previous seasons. He's very serious, and he definitely supports the cause. And he also supported protecting Varys and his head.
Mm-hmm.
So with the beginning, my beginning reaction to the beginning of the show was interesting. Not super exciting, but very important to progress the story. John, did you feel the same way initially?
Yeah, I love the openings. Tyrion sticking up for Jon, all that. I think it was very important. I think it was a very great scene.
Yarley, how did you feel about the overall beginning of this episode?
Yeah, I thought it was pretty solid, setting the foundation for what they were trying to do. I also think that Tyrion's calculation about Casterly Rock it's a shiny prize, but I think at the end of the day, that's going to be one of the mistakes.
You say that, and I remember we've talked about this in the previous episode. I'm not going to drag it out. We're going to talk more about it on Wednesday. But you had mentioned, I believe you and I both had mentioned this, and maybe even the rest of the panel. I don't remember exactly, but Dany is not infallible. She has all these things stacking against the rest of the people of Westeros, but yeah, she's still got some tricks up her sleeve, and Dany is basically not infallible, and that might have been a mistake. I agree. Uh, Trin, how did you feel about the initial? Because you and I felt that the last episode was a little bit slow. So, what was your first impression, at least thus far after this beginning part of the episode?
My initial impression was things are progressing, they are moving along. This storyline is actually going somewhere, and we are getting a lot of payoff. This whole episode was a huge amount of payoff, and we'll get into all the different details of that. But especially when they brought up that Daenerys is back home and she said, I don't feel like this is a homecoming, because they're in the middle of a storm, and they all started recalling, oh, this was a storm that, you were born in a similar storm like that. And everybody has their stories. Dany has this history of people telling her what her history is. She doesn't really know her own history and her own lineage. And so she just has to take the word of all these people, and she's surrounded herself by these people who know her history almost better than she does. And so it's good to sort of bring that back into perspective, that she has these advisors here for a reason. And like you just said, that Tyrion he's a different Tyrion than he has been. He takes his responsibility a lot more serious, because he earned that hand of the queen, versus he was just passed on the hand of the king before by his father as like a surrogate. No, he's earned what he's gotten. And so now he's using proper terminology. He's giving a lot more respect and being a little more gracious to his queen, I think. And I think this particular scene showed all of those aspects.
So far, I think that most of us are in agreement that we're getting through a lot of good content, even though in the beginning I was worried this wasn't going to have any action in it. But we're getting a lot of closure. We're getting a lot of answers. We're getting a lot of things told to us that we thought were going to happen but weren't sure. It's really progressing the story quickly. And something that General John said in the beginning of the show, pre-show, was that even though it was still an hour long, it felt longer. At one point, John, you had said during one of the scenes that, wow, I can't believe we still have like 20 minutes left. And I have to agree with you. I think the rest of the panel can agree that very packed episode. That being said, I'm going to jump here a little bit, and I'm going to throw the panel off here, because we are talking about Dany and Dragonstone. I want to go over here to where we get to see Lady Olenna and, of course, I believe her name is Ilaria, right? Is Ilaria? And Yara. We have some very powerful women here for the first time in a fantasy series like this, where most of the strength is the women standing at this big table making decisions for the realm. I thought this was an amazing scene, definitely empowering to women, and I loved every moment of it, especially when Lady Olenna gave Dany the advice. And I think that, Andre, you can agree that that was a great line with the sheep.
Oh yeah, I wrote it. You saw it. Don't
Yep.
be a sheep, be a dragon. I was like,
Yeah.
yes, thank you very much. But at the same time, I was kind of a little wary about Olenna too, and her telling him, "Don't listen to the lords of Westeros; they're fools." You know what I mean? And I was just like, okay, wait, hold on. She should be listening to Tyrion. Tyrion's fantastic. But that could all just be well wishing for me too. But it was a great scene between the two of them, and you just have to really love Olenna and how she just doesn't give any fucks.
Yeah, she definitely does not. I really enjoyed that whole scene. Dany trying to keep the peace, and everyone made an excellent point. And I love when Tyrion said, "We do not poison little girls," and you can definitely see that there's some hatred between between the Sand Snake mother, or Ilaria rather, and the Lannister still to this day. It was a very good scene. Yardley, did you enjoy the scene with Lady Olenna?
Yeah, I thought the scene was great, but at the end of the day, the only thing that Lady Olenna said, the advice, was exactly what Yara was saying at the beginning of the scene. And I will say this, I definitely loved seeing all of those women in one room. I thought that was definitely pretty cool to see all of these particular women in one room. So I thought that the scene, for the most part, was okay, but something that kind of took me aback was just the fact of how they kind of poo-pooed off the talk of Myrcella. I thought that was kind of weak.
Yeah, I definitely feel bad for Dany having to try to control all these very powerful people. She's going to have her hands full. I think that she's definitely going to have her hands full. It's not going to
So,
be
Chris,
a cake run. Yeah, go ahead, Yarly.
I mean, you didn't think that Tyrion should have been more angry about his niece?
Yeah, I think I did. At first, I thought, wait a minute, that seems kind of odd that he's not really upset or angry, unless they just didn't have time to portray that. But he could have been like a little pissed off about it, like we don't murder, like let his emotions get the best of him for a moment. I think that would have been okay. Did anyone else think that should have happened? Trent, maybe?
Oh, I was just going to say that I think that Tyrion handled it the way that he actually could handle it. Not that, I'm sure that the human side of him wanted to lose his shit on her, but he's not here to, make a fool of himself and, let his emotions override him. He's trying to organize the conquest of Westeros, and him getting mad with one of their allies because she murdered his niece when he's talking about murdering his own sister, is what there was no room for that at that moment. He made his point. We don't poison little girls here. I was a little pissed about Ilaria and her saying basically Marcella didn't matter because she was a Lannister. And then I really appreciated that Cersei was like, not Cersei, that Daenerys was like, chill the fuck out. That's my hand, But I mean, I don't really know what else Tyrion could have said or done in that moment.
That's a good point. Trent, did you want to comment on that before we moved on?
Just to kind of piggyback off of what Andrea said, I agree. I think Tyrion didn't really have to defend himself in that situation because Daenerys stepped up and was like, whoa, he will get the respect that he deserves. He's a Lannister. For God's sakes, nobody can deny standing in that room that they don't know that he's a Lannister. So for her to blatantly say, oh, all Lannisters are terrible, whatever, I liked that Daenerys did step into that situation and kind of mediate that.
Yeah, and right now he is the Lannister, at least in my opinion anyway, although I do enjoy Jaime as well. But, okay, I want to go back onto track here. The speech that Cersei had was pretty brilliant in my opinion, the way that she was turning the foreign invasion to her advantage and saying to the other lords that, hey, she's coming here with Unsullied, with Dothraki. What do you think they're going to do to our land? Do you think that it's not going to end in blood and fire? Which were not her words exactly. I'm paraphrasing and making up my own words. But I'm just giving you a synopsis of what my first reaction to this was. And I think this was great because we actually get confirmation that Lord Tarly is going to be joining the side of House Lannister, because we had seen different pictures throughout the season, before the beginning of the season, wondering what he was going to do because of him being a bannerman to House. What's the word? I can't think of the name of the house. Tyrell. Sorry, I was thinking of something else. Okay, so John, you wanted to say something?
Is he really with them? Like he sounded like he was kind of torn between that, because he only went there because his queen summoned him, but he also said, listen, I've known Olenna since I was a kid. I mean, I'm loyal. I'm not an oath breaker. We don't break our oaths. They're loyal to I don't know if he's right away going to side with them.
Andre, do you think that he's going to side with him? Do you think that scene was confirmation that at least initially that oh my God, I can't think of his name. I'm having a mental.
Jaime and
Tarly, Lord Tarly, yeah.
I think that Randall is fucking scared shitless of Cersei. It's pretty fucking clear what she does when people don't when they don't listen or don't do as she expects them to do. And Jaime's dangling a pretty big purse in front of him. And I think that, as far as Randall goes, yeah, he's loyal. He was loyal to the Targaryens in Robert's Rebellion, and now he's loyal to the Baratheons. You know what I mean? And it doesn't mean that he doesn't want to do the right thing and go against Cersei, but it's a pretty big freaking coin that he's dangling in front of Randall's face. And I think the bottom line is that Cersei is on land right now, and Dany's at Dragonstone. And I mean, what else is he gonna fucking do? He's scared as fuck of Cersei.
I would be too, quite honestly. Yarly, what did you think about that?
Yeah, he's totally going to join her. I thought it was made pretty obvious, and plus the kickback, if everything goes their way, is too great. So I think that he made the right decision.
All right, going to move on to the next part here, because this is something that immediately I thought of Andrea, because she made this prediction, and I believe Trin made this prediction as well, that Sam is going to be a healer. And if you don't believe he's going to be a healer, well, when we got to see what kind of a state Jorah was in, holy dog shit. If there was any doubt, there is no doubt at all that Sir Friendzone is covered in grayscale, and he is looking pretty nasty, like he fell on a grill. And I forget the maester's name. I don't have the notes right in front of me, but he's just
Ebron.
like Ebron. Thank you.
Oh, is that his name? Because he's the maester who wrote the World Book.
Ebron,
Oh.
Archmaester Ebron is what he was in IMDb last week,
Mhm.
and I haven't checked. I checked about an hour before the show aired to see what his name was, and it wasn't showing. So, but last week he was Archmaester Ebron. Archmaester Ebron was the main healer for all of the maesters. He was kind of like the, I don't know, lieutenant professor or whatever for all the maesters in the Citadel. And actually, a little tidbit for everybody: Qyburn was kicked out of the Citadel because he wanted to be in the healing arts. Because I don't know if you could liken it to Harry Potter, where everybody kind of gets their specialty class. You know, some people get poisoned, some people get healing, some people learn different spells and stuff. Ebron was the healer. Qyburn wanted to be better than Ebron, so Qyburn was the guy who was practicing on real people, like living people instead of dead people. And Ebron, we saw in the last episode, he cut open some dead people to weigh things and check things out. So he's definitely the professor of healing.
I loved seeing Sam in the scene, and when he put together that was Commander Lord Mormont's son, and he put it at that moment, you knew in his mind he was going to try to save him. And I thought he was going to save him with Dragonglass immediately, but I think that's going to happen later. Andre, I really believe you're right about that, about the Dragonglass healing him.
All I can say is that I don't know if we're doing the whole Sam thing, but yikes! I feel really bad for Jorah.
Painful.
Oh,
very painful. John, what did you think about the scene? Because I was ready to throw up all over the place.
Oh man, I was just like feeling bad for him. Like he was appealing that. I'm like, oh my god, and you gotta do the whole body. He's gotta do the whole arm and chest. I'm like, dude, this guy's gonna pass out from pain.
It probably would have been for the best.
I'm just like, poor Sam. Do not get. I was like, Sam, please do not get dragon scale. Please, just don't get grayscale. Just be careful, man.
Yardley, did you see some of the scenes where Sam kind of made it a little bit humorous, where Jorah says, have you done this before? And Sam looks up and he's like, not sure what to say.
You know, it was definitely funny, of course, passing the rum back and forth, but I'm not too sure that I'm going to pass him the rum, let him touch it, and then I'm going to grab it again. So he kind of struck out on that. But I thought that scene, I thought it was great. And in a way, symbolically speaking, all the pain that Jorah's gone through, it's almost like he's really paying a penance for some of the past discretions that he had.
Yes.
All right, now I want to go. Okay, so we'll talk more about this scene later on. Real quick, Trin, did you get a little bit sick when it switched right over to a guy sticking his
not even a little
spoon in the pie?
A little bit.
I totally have done things similar to that with living human beings, so we're not going to go there right now. But if you know me in real life, you know that I was like, that was actually like really cool for me to watch. So
God bless you, because there's no freaking. I'm like, because I thought it was still grayscale, and then we pan out to the being in that tavern, and I'm like,
grayscale's an infection.
I'm like,
yeah, it's disgusting.
Like,
And it's really funny because in the books, Sam is terrified of blood and gross things. So this is really difficult. Like, this is a lot for Sam. I really feel bad for him.
Yeah, but he's doing it like a boss, though. He's taking care of business.
Yes, he is.
The transition, John, you had mentioned this during the pre-show as well. The transitions this episode were phenomenal, other than the throwing up in my mouth and maybe all over the floor and all over my cat as it went by. But it was clever how they did that. But the next scene was I loved it, but I also was a little disappointed. My first impression was, okay, Ari was a little bit cold to hot pie, and I was like, well, actually, my first impression was, yeah, hot pie. Holy shit, hot pie got big. He must have been eating every damn pie in that bitch. I was like, holy crap. But I did feel like Ari was a little bit cold to him. John, what were your thoughts?
Yeah, because she's a little bit older, a little bit hardened now, and she was a little bit cold. But I mean, I kind of love that scene when she found out what happened. I'm like, Arya's going home. I was like, that's my first thought when she's like, John's what? She's going home. I loved it.
Yeah, her going home is awesome. At least now we know that she is going home because we weren't sure if we were going south and she was going to be heading to Cersei, but now we see her turning around and going north. Andrea, that must have made you feel nice to know that there's going to be some kind of Stark reunion. We already know that John's going to be happy, but I know you'll be happy as well.
Yeah, I was pretty happy. I will say though that I spent the first maybe 45 seconds watching this interaction between Arya and Hot Pie, thinking to myself, "This is it. This is the moment we're going to find out if Arya is Arya or if Arya is the waif." Because she was so cold to him and she didn't want to answer any questions. And I think that Arya had just kind of shut herself off from feelings at this point. Like, I'm here, do a mission, complete this mission, and then figure out what the next move is. Until she found out that the Boltons didn't have Winterfell, and then you could totally see it on her face, and that's how you knew that that's our Arya. You know what I mean? I waited and waited and waited to see that outcome, and so yeah, I was really happy to see her decide, okay, this is the moment. This is the moment that I'm going home. I'm changing my plans, and I'm not going to fucking King's Landing. Fuck that shit. So yeah, it was really awesome for me to see that.
Yardley, what were your thoughts of this particular scene?
No, I thought it was pretty cool. I, like Andrea, didn't really think that initial wolf from the trailer was her dire wolf, but I think it's the same thing with the wolf turning around and leaving with its family, basically telling her to let it go. So she finally came to the realization that her family was more important. But I did love that the news got broke to her by Hot Pie, of all people, that John was king of the North. She was like, what the fuck? I missed a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? She was like, wow, all of this stuff happens. So I think that she made the right decision. I mean, because at the end of the day, no one knows if she's going to be able to, complete her mission to get Cersei, and family's more important than holding those grudges. So I think let it go being the theme, then I thought it worked really well.
I know we're jumping around here a little bit. I'm just kind of following the feel. Arya meeting or being also the Hot Pie scene was awesome. So she's kind of reconnecting to the people of her past. Well, she also connects to her direwolf. Nymeria shows up, which I thought was a phenomenal scene when I saw her out in the woods and the horses like, oh, a little bit scared. And I was a little disappointed that Arya and Nymeria won't be traveling together, but I understand as well that it's not Nymeria's way anymore, and D&D kind of explained that at the end of the episode. But John, how happy were you to see a Stark reunited with a direwolf?
I was very happy, almost tearful. I almost teared up a few of these scenes, and this being one of them. I was like, oh my god, please stay with her. I was a little bit disappointed that Nymeria left. So,
Andrea, this is another scene that you predicted, spot on, I might say. How did you feel about it?
Arya and Nymeria?
Yep.
I felt like Arya had to go her own way in order to figure out who she was, and she pushed Nymeria away for Nymeria's safety. And at this point, Nymeria is pushing Arya away, saying, you sent me away, and so this is my family. And Arya is finally going back to her family. I don't think this is the last we're going to see for Nymeria. I think that Arya and Nymeria are running parallel stories. Nymeria was named after Nymeria of 10,000 ships. She built an army. You see how many fucking wolves she had with her? There's more to it. They didn't keep her alive for fucking 7 seasons just to fucking bring her back for 5 seconds. That's just not how it's going to work.
Excellent point. Trent, did you want to comment on that?
On the Nymeria part or
Yep.
on the Arya scene?
On the Arya and Nymeria, or either or, whichever you want.
I thought it was great that Hot Pie and it referred to Brienne as the big lady knight. and and I was really excited and jumping around when I realized Arya just made the decision to go north. Like, that was really cool because you could see the transition immediately. Her face was like very blank stare. I'm eating my pie. I made a couple pies. Now, all of a sudden, as soon as he said Jon Snow is king in the north, something snapped for Arya because she realized Jon is the one person she ever really cared about. She loved her father and her mother and her brothers and sisters, but like the one person she was really, really connected to was Jon Snow. And as soon as Hot Pie mentioned Jon Snow being king in the North, that changed it all.
Cersei, we're going to move over to Cersei here because this is another one of my favorite scenes. Cersei underneath the, I guess, was that the crypts, Andrea?
That was the it was basically the dungeons
The
where they
dungeon
had
area?
the dragons moved to. It wasn't like the black cells, but it was like down in the lower levels of the dungeons.
When Qyburn had mentioned during that meeting of all the leftover lords and ladies that they have a plan to deal with the dragons, and we get to see what is that called? A ballista? Is that what that's called? That weapon,
Yeah.
John?
It's a ballista.
A ballista, shooting it into Balerion's skull pissed me off, but Balerion's skull was huge. Holy shit!
I was
and,
so mad.
and now we have confirmation that Cersei has a plan for the dragons, John. So she better be careful because they're not invincible.
Yeah, but trying to shoot a dragon out of the air with that's going to be very, very tricky.
But
I
at least
still
there's
don't
a
think they're
chance.
killing a dragon. I think if a dragon's going to die, it'll be against the Battle of the Dawn. I don't see a dragon dying in this war.
What do you think, Yarley? Do you think that the Qyburn is going to prove useful yet again and nail him a dragon?
There's totally going to be a dragon dying, probably, or mortally wounded. But I like their odds. As I said last week, Cersei has a plan, and by Daenerys not going ahead and sacking King's Landing right now, it gives her the opportunity to do shit like this.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great point. Going to move on to Grey Worm and Melisandre. I thought the best part of this was the
Missandei.
I'm sorry, Missandei. I thought the best part of this was Missandei. She is absolutely amazingly beautiful, and I like what you do with your tongue, Grey Worm. Really? I get nothing for that? Not a laugh or anything? Come on.
Well, we were waiting
Oh,
for the
come on.
permission to go, but
Oh.
he learned it from Jon Snow. So
Nice. There we go.
Nice.
That is awesome. I
I was
enjoyed
really
the scene.
I was
yeah.
really pleased with that.
We got to see Grey Worm's weakness too. That his strength is that he's brave, and now he's not feeling so brave because he has the feels for Missandei. And who couldn't? Missandei is beautiful. I have feels for you, Missandei, and I've never even met you. Yet I feel so connected to you because I've seen you naked. It's a wonderful thing. It's a beautiful thing for the Game of Thrones.
It reminds me. It reminds me of back when Maester Aemon told Jon, "Do you know why we swear our vows and promise to take no wives? Because love is the death of honor or duty." This is exactly what's happening with Grey Worm. He had no reason to be afraid of anything before, and then the minute he fell in love with Missandei, he started fearing everything, and losing her, never seeing her again, things like that. And it was a good scene. I mean, maybe it was a little too tender for Game of Thrones, but for me as a girl, it works.
Yeah, that's true. It's a little too tender for the Game of Thrones, but we're getting some really amazing stuff here. And even though I feel like they could have maybe put something a little bit more important in here, I guess it's nice to kind of break up all the seriousness with something like this. So I guess it worked out pretty good. Let's move on to Sam's message gets to Jon. This is huge because, we had the foreshadowing from the previous episode, and now we're seeing that the Dragonstone is more important and that there is a mine of dragon glass underneath it. Confirmation. Jon says, hey, we got to get this shit mined. So now we have to make a decision. Now, Trin, did you feel that this scene was as powerful as maybe I did? Because I thought it was very important. And Jon's argument to his lords and ladies that he's got to take care of business himself, I thought that was pretty important and powerful for the story.
Yes. And I thought it was beautiful the way that he presented to everyone. That's his court, basically. If the North had a court, that would be his court. And he presented to everyone, I have to do this. I'm not afraid of doing this. It's a calculated risk, and I'm leaving you in good hands. And that's when he sort of like retained Sansa as the northern emissary. I think an emissary is someone who goes like outside of the realm, but she
Castellan?
is now, Yeah, almost like like a hand would be to him as the king. And I without calling her the queen, he basically gave her queenship, which was beautiful because now you've got queens all over the place.
So regent then?
That could
Basically,
work,
yeah,
yeah.
she's a regent.
She likes to call him out in front of everybody, and I think that John's getting fed up with it, like really getting tired of that shit. Although her intentions are good, I think that she should definitely maybe they need to communicate more in private, so that they're not quite at odds in front of the entire court. You know what I mean? It shows.
Yeah, that is
some
really
issues.
bizarre that
Yeah.
they do all of this in front of their court.
Yeah.
But they don't
After
have-
a conversation about not doing it. So
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. I think that Sansa needs to learn some patience, but I'm also glad that she pushes him because when she pushes him, it makes John actually say the things that need to be said. And I really felt like this was a good transition for John and Sansa. I really loved how he shut her down, was like, I'm leaving them in good hands. And she goes, well, who is that? Because she's thinking he's going to say Davos. And he's all, you. And she's like, oh, well, let me sit the fuck down then. I have no, I don't
Right?
even know what to say about that. Like, let me just stop.
Mic drop.
He just shut her down and she was like, well, shit, don't I feel stupid?
I also like that he still acknowledged it. Well, that Sansa also acknowledges when they did have their private conversation that Tyrion wasn't like other Lannisters. That was important. And I also think
Yes.
it's important that John remembers the friendship and the message where it says bastards, broken things, or whatever it was.
All bastards are all dwarfs are bastards in their
Yes.
father's eyes.
And
It was the
I
first
love that.
thing he told. Sorry for cutting.
No,
you
go ahead. No, go with it. Go with it.
It was the first thing that Tyrion told John when they first met, and I'm glad they put that in there so it's not a trap. Because the first instant was they all like, it's a trap, and then it's
No.
like, no, that little phrase. John's like, that's the first thing, and
Because-
I love all of John's scenes. I think tonight was awesome. I love that, and I love Davos for saying like, doesn't dragons kill. Breathe fire, and he's like, so that's why I think all three dragons are living, because of that one thing where he said that where they can't mention the dragons and dragon fire. That's why I think all three dragons live. But I love those scenes, man. It's awesome.
Trent.
The one in the Raven, the reason that Tyrion wrote what he wrote about bastards and how they're all bastards in their father's eyes, that was that moment that Tyrion connected with John immediately.
Yeah.
Like, we are on the same level. We're both noble houses, but we're both outcasts. And they connected at that moment, and then they had their journey afterwards. So for Tyrion to know that and know that he needs to reach John at an intimate level, like, this is real, man. Of course, he's going to use those words.
Yeah, that also makes him a little bit less worried about being burned to death in front of a court of a Targaryen court that now has landed at Dragonstone. So that kind of clears that argument up. At least, I thought that was really cool. Okay, let's go to because we're getting long in the show. We're trying to make this short. The only thing I have left in my notes here, at least I thought was of any note, were the sand snakes.
Wait.
Big battle.
Can we just talk about the crypt really fast?
Oh,
Yes.
wait, you're right. I almost forgot about that.
Statue.
Andrea, thank you for saving that. That was important because this was another prediction you made. And I thought that I was actually, I wrote on here, wait for it, pause, because I thought that Jon Snow was going to beat the fuck out of Littlefinger and he just gave him a good old strangle. But go ahead.
First of all, who the fuck does Peter Baelish think he is? Thank you, bitch. Bye. And also, I'm the reason why your father's bones are returned. No, bitch. Tyrion's the reason why Ned's fucking bones were returned. Thank you very much. And I fucking knew he was gonna say something about Sansa. And I love that John was like, you're out of place. You have no fucking right to be down here. And then when he said something about Sansa, he turned around and I fucking knew it. Don't fucking touch
Look
my
at that
sister. I'll
face.
fucking kill you.
Look at that
It made me
face.
so fucking happy. Like, it was, I swear to you, my lord, blah, blah. Motherfucker, your oaths mean shit. They mean nothing. Fuck off. Like, ooh,
Doesn't
I
it-
was
Do you guys
so
feel like this is
gratified.
do you guys feel like this is a different Littlefinger? It doesn't seem like the clever, calculated Littlefinger of seasons past. Right now, I feel like he's being sloppy because he's got Sansa on the brain. You know what I mean?
He
I don't
thinks he
know.
knows John. He thinks he knows John.
He thinks he knows John, but remember, Littlefinger dealt with Brandon Stark and he dealt with Ned Stark and all of these things. Look at this callback right here. Who did this to Littlefinger how many seasons ago?
Yeah, true.
Ned Stark did this. Who gave Littlefinger a token of whatever from navel to what did he say?
chest. It was from navel
Bone.
to-
Yeah,
yeah.
the collarbone to navel or whatever. Littlefinger has been accosted by Starks his whole life because he provokes Starks and has been provoking them for decades. I don't want to say centuries, decades. And so he knows how to provoke Starks. He knew what he was doing down there, little turd.
I thought we were going to get some. I thought John was going to be told his history right there. I really thought it was going to happen right then and there.
Too easy.
I did too. No, I really did too. I have
think
two
so.
predictions that are totally wrong, completely wrong. And they might not, one of them might prove to still be correct, but I have to confess that I thought Lyanna Mormont was going to be talking to Daenerys when she said, "Your Grace, winter is here." And so that was my bad. I predicted wrong on that one. And then the other one was
Join the club, Trin.
I thought Littlefinger was going to definitely be choking on or be choked out by Jon because he told Jon about the R+L, but that was wrong on that too. So that's two wrong for me.
Yardley, were you underwhelmed by that scene with Littlefinger and Jon in the crypts?
I didn't really know what to expect. I definitely was underwhelmed, and I get what you're saying about he seems like a different type of character. Littlefinger seems like his demeanor is a little bit different, and maybe that's because we don't necessarily get a lot of him, and he doesn't necessarily have anyone to play off of outside of Sansa. So for me, I thought the scene was okay, but I definitely would rather have this scene than the Missandei Grey Worm scene.
Okay, I'll give you that. Although I do like seeing Missandei naked. That's just the guy in me. Man pig, the male chauvinist
Hey,
pig.
listen,
You're not alone, Chris.
as a viewer, I don't think that we needed the scene, but if I was an actor, I would be happy as hell that they wrote it in there.
Awesome. All right, sand snakes. Let's go back to the sand snakes, the underwhelming sand snakes of seasons past. I'm kind of glad. Okay, that ties into the battle, so we're going to tie in the sand snakes to the battle. And I did want to see Yara and Illyria, is that her name, go to town. When she said she's going to be invaded
Yes.
by a foreigner, I'm like, yes, let's have this action. And then, of course, all of a sudden we have the battle.
I think it was foreign invasion is landing.
Oh yeah, or is
something
imminent
like
or something like that. Yeah, it was clever. And Theon's like, okay, I'll leave you to it.
Yep. It was beautiful.
Now, are all the sand snakes dead, or was it just because I only saw 2 actually murdered?
Only
I
two.
think
Only
I think
two.
it's
They
I
captured
think I think Nim and Ilaria are together.
Yeah, the baby snake, the youngest one.
The bad
That last,
pussy.
yeah, the bad pussy. She had short hair before, and her hair's grown out now. So
I love her.
yeah, her and the mama, because she
Is-
went down to defend
Yeah.
mama.
So funny. Does anybody think that she's going to be a gift to Bronn?
I think so, or at least I'd like to see
Oh,
that
that
happen.
would be great.
Jamie did promise him.
That's true.
She's not really from a noble house, though.
Yes, she is. They run Dorne right now.
Oh yeah, and
True.
I guess
true.
Ilaria is the gift for Cersei.
I think so.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
famous.
Yeah, Ilaria killed Marcella, so Cersei absolutely wants her ass.
So I don't want to make too many predictions, but I'm thinking that maybe there's a wedding coming up.
Like Braun and Bad
No.
Pussy?
No.
No,
Cersei
like
and-
an accepting of
Yeah.
a gift and a giving of a gift.
Yes.
Absolutely, yes.
Also, is,
Which is-
oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was going to say that's going to drive Jamie nuts because you know that Euron's not one of those guys that's going to be like, oh, this is a political marriage and I'm just going to sit next to you. No, Euron is going to get some.
Yeah, he's going to claim his rights.
Yeah,
He's
he
feeling
is.
that.
Yes, he is.
Is Yara alive? Because I've seen that in the chat as well. I'm curious too. Is she alive?
I
Yes.
think she's
She is.
alive.
Yes.
A hostage.
I think she is. Yes, she's a hostage.
I think Euron is crazy. Well, seeing that, but he's also very efficient at killing. I don't think
He
he's
was so
stupid.
badass.
Yeah, he was really badass. I got to take my hat off to this guy. Yardley, you got to agree. This guy was absolutely awesome on the battlefield with an axe in that ship. How it had that big ram and it just that big claw grapple-y thing that turns into a landing plank. How freaking awesome was that?
Oh yeah, that was really awesome. He basically slid in there and did his thing. I thought it was pretty cool. We definitely saw the strength of the Greyjoys on the sea, and they weren't even trying to capture ships. They were like, we're just going to destroy it. And I thought that they were very efficient. I mean, they literally tore up the whole fleet. Because at the end, after Theon had jumped off, he was just seeing the Greyjoy ship sailing off. Everybody else was burnt. So I thought that was great, man. And Euron is shaping up to be a great villain. I mean, he might even supersede other people who you might not like on the show.
Absolute phenomenal scene. I don't know about many on the sea battle scenes, but I thought this is one of the best ones I've ever seen, in my opinion. Blood, guys ripping out people's teeth. It was pretty intense, and just seeing Euron stepping up to the plate, because we heard him talk a lot, right? He did a lot of talking, but now we're seeing this guy in action, and quite frankly, Cersei's got a chance. This guy is absolutely brutal, and he's not stupid.
It was a good battle. It was a good battle. I like the battle scenes. Well, remember he did burn the Lannister fleet at the Greyjoy Rebellion, so he is experienced. I think, however, this is a shallow victory for Cersei, because if you go back, and I'll try to make this short, they weren't going to plan on using the Dothraki. Okay, now that you take away the Dornish soldiers, now you're gonna have to. Now the secret weapon of the dragons and the Dothraki is gonna have to fight, and I kind of see it as both a victory, but you also kind of fucked up, because now you're bringing the Dothraki into this. Tyrion was leaving the Dothraki out and the dragons. He said it plainly in the planning. So now you're gonna have to bring the Dothraki out.
I thought that Tyrion had planned for the Dothraki, the Unsullied, and the dragons to go to Casterly Rock, whereas the Tyrells, the Tyrells and the Dornish people were all going to sack King's Landing or hold King's Landing. So really, basically, the whole strategy of everybody going south to take King's Landing is completely obliterated, and the only thing they have left is Casterly Rock, because all their other forces, they split their forces, which may or may not have been a good idea, but they split their forces to where everybody went west. Who's alive now after this scene? All of the Dothraki, Unsullied, and dragons will be west.
No, because he said, "I'm not using Dothraki because we don't want a foreign army." He had He said the Unsullied was going to take Casterly Rock and Dorne, and Dothraki was never going.
That was to go to King's Landing, because he didn't want the foreigners going to King's Landing and invading that way. But they were going to take them and go to Casterly Rock.
I don't think it was that, though.
Well, we can go back and check it out, but I think what Trin is saying is pretty accurate. But we'll go back and we'll check it out, and we could do it on the next episode. I think that this was an amazing battle, though, and I'm not going to lie, I was very satisfied to see the Sand Snakes die. Yarly, did you get a little pleasure out of that too?
Yeah, I mean, they basically just righted a wrong, so I'm with it.
That is so true. The whole scene at the end where Euron had Yara by the neck with his axe, which his axe looks freaking amazing. First of all, you got to give them credit for doing an amazing job shooting the makeup and the lighting and the battling and the fire and the special effects and the costumes was just phenomenal. This is one of the best produced shows I have ever seen in my entire life. But the scene that really stuck out to me at the end of the battle was when we had the three-faced showdown. And D&D talk about this at the end of the episode, too. I definitely recommend you go and watch it. Where, Theon's looking at Euron, he's looking at Yara, he's looking around, and, he sees the blood, he sees the carnage. And, he's been doing his job, he's been fighting, he's been trying to keep it together. And at this moment, he loses it. And that's it. And look at Euron's face of lunatic rage.
This is classic
Tough.
PTSD.
Yeah, very difficult. Right
here. And you can't tell when it's going to come back. It just pops in and takes over. I think this was a fantastic job of Alfie Allen playing Theon Greyjoy.
Yeah.
He did a fantastic job of portraying someone who's going through PTSD and they just snap and they just go for it. They have to get out of that situation. He did a great job acting this specific scene.
Euron's laugh at the end really solidified how effed up he is. And I predicted this, by the way, to a point. I predicted that my prediction was Yar was going to get killed during this battle, and that's why Theon is looking all mopey and glopey in the trailer. But we'll see what happens. I may still be wrong because I haven't got one prediction right yet. Son of a bitch. Seeing the sand snakes hung and one stabbed, I didn't realize that until just watching it now during our live stream. That one was hung from the front of that ship, and the other one was stabbed with like a big spear-looking thing. Did you notice that? I didn't notice that.
Yeah, it was huge.
I did.
I saw him stab her with the huge spear.
No, I
but
mean at the
didn't
end,
see
right
that.
before
They
the ship's
impaled
leaving.
her on a huge spike.
Yeah.
Which was actually really fitting considering what she did to Tristane. But yeah, it was definitely interesting. Honestly, I didn't really like those bitches, but see them out there like that, like really kind of broke my heart. But maybe it's just because I don't know. I'm like all for the action, and then when people die, I'm just like, oh, that's so sad. Except for
nobody's
Cersei,
safe.
I'm probably gonna cheer for that.
All right, let's go around the table here, and we're going to get our final first impression score. We score our episodes from 1 to 5 swords, not with popcorn and not with stars, because this is Behind the Iron Throne, baby. Beat it. 1 being the worst, 5 being the best. Let's start with General Jonathan Stonemas Starklover, the one true Ductarian with the quail feathers. You, sir, how many swords?
I'm giving it 5 swords out of 5. I think it was going to be a 4.8, but the battle threw it up to 5.
Okay, fair enough. That's fair. How about you, Trin?
I'm going to give it a 4 for sure, which is really high for me because I have a lot of expectations. But there was a lot of payoff in this specific episode. So it was worthy of definitely 4 swords for me. And I've got some favorite pieces. I don't know. Sam cutting up Jorah was pretty epic.
That's funny. Real quick, before I go to the next host, I just want to mention to everybody joining us live at facebook.com/Behind the Iron Throne. If you want to go live for an after show with Andrea, just say in the chat if you want to go live. We get enough people, and she'll stay live and do a Q&A. It'll be a lot of fun. I'll tell you, you have any questions need to be answered, she's your gal. She'll take good care of you, I promise. I'm going to go next. I'm going to give it a 4. I thought this episode was really good. I thought at first it was going to start out slow and be boring. Then I realized that it was about closing some arcs and opening new and getting us to where we need to be. It wasn't just filler. And, of course, I got to see Missandei naked. Send your hate mail to somebody else because I'm not fucking reading it. I did love the battle. This is probably one of the best sea battles I've ever seen in the HBO universe, and I just can't get over how well they do the music, the artwork, the special effects, the sound. I feel like I'm there. It's brutal. It's psychotic. It's great. I absolutely love it. So I'm gonna give it 4 swords out of 5. Okay, next, let's go with Andrea. How many swords, my dear?
I'm gonna follow suit with last week and say 4 swords. Don't get me wrong. I think that by the end of the season, it's all going to be 5s. But as of right now, I just see it getting better and better and better. I can't see myself giving it more than 4 because I know that it's just going to keep getting better. So I'm going to go with 4 swords the same way I did last week. And I'm going to pick the shit out of this episode. And you guys are going to hear all about it on the page. So there's that.
Awesome. Yardley, your score, my friend.
Initially, I was going to give it a 3.5, but after further review, I think that the sea battle and the Sam and Jorah scene kind of saved it, so I'll push it up to a 4.
Awesome. Yardley, could you tell everybody where they can find you on social media so they can hit you up and chit-chat?
Yes, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at militant_marker.
Andrea, where can everybody find you to chit-chat and hit you up?
I know the answer to this now. A_Richard637 at Twitter.
Awesome. And, of course, you can always hit all of us up at the Facebook page. And if you haven't joined our group, our Behind the Iron Throne Club BTIT group, please do. It's a lot of fun. It's so much great conversation. We have a great community. You guys are the best. You make this so worth doing. And General Jonathan Stonemas Darkdarian, where can everyone find you, Mr. Quailhead?
I'm on. Just type in my name on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Pinterest, Snapchat, and Tinder, and everything else.
Did you just
So,
say?
I'm on
Tinder.
Yes,
On
yes.
Tinder?
I'm on Tinder too. People just type
What
in
a
my name.
creep.
Oh
Type in
my
my name.
God.
Okay, so I'm even on MySpace if that even still exists. So there you go.
Are you trying to
my
tell people
God.
something?
I'm just saying where I'm part of. So if you want to reach me,
We knew there was no girlfriend.
I can have a
Okay.
girlfriend and stay going Tinder. Okay.
Oh, pig.
What a
food.
dog.
That would be totally wrong. Okay, real quick before we head out of here, I just want to remind everyone we're going to be doing another live episode this Wednesday at 8 o'clock. We're going to be breaking down this episode even more. It's going to be the bonus. I also want to thank everybody so much for the wonderful birthday wishes. Yesterday was my birthday. I turned 32. If you believe that, I'll sell you the Brooklyn Bridge. I want to thank you, Trin, so much for making that video. That was so phenomenal. You really put a tear to my eye. You really got me in the feels. That meant a whole lot to me, and I can't say thank you enough to everybody here, and Jay Angie and Tiffany and Lord Bags and Amy and DJ and of course Mama Cheryl and John Y and all of the other thronies that posted happy birthday, and everyone that was in the video, and everyone that just sent me happy birthdays to my personal page at Chris Gray, at Chris J Gray, the number 7. All over all social media, you guys hit me up, and it really made my day so much more better. And I appreciate it, and I love you guys. You guys are awesome. Be Tit forever. I will always remember that.
I love
Cannoli
you too,
sent in
Chris.
a late entrance. I just wanted to make mention of him, and I had gotten some feedback from other people who were like, "Oh, we're gonna send some stuff," but I never got anything. The only person I actually got a video, like, Cannoli just sent me a video. I'll send it to you, Chris, if with permission from
Yeah,
Cannoli.
awesome.
You need to see it, and it's really great, and it bashes on John a little bit.
Then I'll take it.
He posted it. He posted
Oh, he
it.
did? He
Yeah.
did good. Okay. Yeah, I got some feedback from other fans who were like, we want to send a video, but nobody sent me an actual video except for Cannoli for like a late entrance into that. Because I was like, maybe I'll make a part 2 if I get some videos.
Lord Cannoli, the
So-
breaker
I'll
of
do
diets.
Yes, Cannoli is awesome.
Everybody in this
We all love
community
you,
is
Chris.
awesome. And yesterday was also my sister's birthday, so happy birthday to my sister Julie. Love you, kid. It was just amazing. You know, it means a lot to me. And until the day I hit the dirt, this will be one of my favorite name days of all time. So I really appreciate everybody and all my co-hosts and all the fans out there. I love you guys.
We love you too, Chris.
Thanks. I appreciate that. I really do. I mean it from the
So-
bottom of my heart.
If anybody wants to follow me, I'm at Dovahkiin Trin. So
I was
bye.
just about to get there, Edrin. And
Okay. I didn't know if you skipped me.
I was actually going to end with you because
Oh,
you're
okay.
my little Zelda princess.
Yeah.
We'll see you guys on Wednesday, or check us out at BehindTheIronThrone.tv.com or on the Facebook page. Join the Facebook group, please. I can't stress this enough. And if you don't answer the questions, you're probably not going to get in. The questions are there, not to be annoying. They're there to keep out all the bots because we don't want spam. We don't want bullshit. We're building a quality community. And if you're not quality community, if you get in there and start trolling, you're out. Like one of those turds that Sam had to clean out of those bedpans last week.
Poop song.
Yuck. It's coming. I'm working on it. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Okay, we'll see you next time beyond the barriers of space and time from your crew at TNRT Studios. We love you guys. Hashtag BTID forever. See you next time. Fire and blood. Woo!
Shout out.
Targaryens.
Shout out to my sister Jessica Stomos. I love you so much. Have fun at the baby shower. Baby Aria, I cannot wait for her to come.